Welcome back to Good Morning Colorado. Here's a live look at Springfield this morning. Looking a little foggy out there. I know the temperatures are extremely low, so the time now is 6:12, and we're going to send it over to Marty, who has a better analysis of the weather than I do.
Well, I'll give it a shot. We had 70s yesterday in Springfield. That's not going to happen anywhere in eastern Colorado today. A little bit of snow here, seen from the Denver Civic Center. You can see the tracks of the cars working through the roadways around the downtown area. Snow's not been terribly heavy yet. It's really just begun to fall up that way. And radar animations are showing that very slowly this area of snow that you see in blue is starting to sag to the south. Good news is it's been snowing up around Rocky Mountain National Park for the last several hours. They're going to get some real heavy snow out of this thing over the next day and a half or so, which we all know is going to be very helpful for firefighting efforts. Colby asked about some fog. Yeah, we've got it in spots. You just have to be up high enough to be in the clouds. And, well, sometimes Woodland Park is called the city above the clouds, not so much now. Buried in the clouds right now, seen from the Greater Woodland Park Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Center. It's cold. We're in the lower 20s at the moment. Obviously, visibility is down. It's not snowing yet, but it won't be too long before that starts. Teens now over northern Colorado. We have 26 at the Colorado Springs Airport, right along the Arkansas River, some lower 30s. Notice, though, out here across the mountain valleys, we're in the 50s. Both for Gunnison and for Alamosa. So the mountains continue to act as a barrier to what so far has been a shallow layer of colder air, but that'll deepen up here with time, and everybody in the state is going to get pretty cold. FUTURECAST has done a pretty nice job of showing the snow remaining up to our north here for the morning hours, and I think that'll be true through about lunchtime. But shortly after lunchtime, we'll likely start to see the first bands of snow beginning to develop. And notice this sort of striping of these little areas of blue. It's a banded structure that makes it kind of difficult to know who will get the heaviest snow. As you get under these sorts of bands, which can be pretty small in nature, the snowfall rates can be pretty intense, and you can get a couple of inches of snow very quickly. I don't think we'll have a lot of snow on the ground here through the middle afternoon hours, but as we head into tonight, these bands will probably start to get a bit more intense. High temperatures today, probably only going to be in the 20s and lower 30s. So basically what you see is what you get out there this morning. The numbers aren't going up here, at least in eastern Colorado. And we're in the 50s now out across the mountain valleys. We'll hang on to those numbers, yeah, maybe through the first half of the day before your temperatures start to come down as well. How about snowfall? Everybody wants to know about that. So let's go ahead and let the model have a crack at it. And this is through noon tomorrow. And it's showing pretty commonly 3 to 6 inches of what would generally be a light, airy snow for many of us, as opposed to a wet, heavy snow, which would typically fall this time of year. This is a pretty cold system. But what it does mean is that the snow that does fall is likely to stick, so we'll probably have some pretty slick travel. Notice in these purples and pinks, these are bullseyes of what will likely be much heavier snow. And although our models are picking up at some major population centers, once you get into the mountain areas themselves, 1 to 2 feet of snow is going to fall very easily with this storm system. And that's also true up across the areas where the fires are burning. So again, that's probably good news. So around the Pikes Peak region, again, snowfall accumulations are always kind of an adventure around here. And so we'll go with the general 3 to 6 inches of fluff, lower elevations in the Pikes Peak region. Having said that, I talked about the banded structure of the snow. It's certainly possible that some areas will pick up a couple of inches more than those ranges might expect. That's not unusual with this type of storm system. Teller County is looking to pick up more snowfall, at least as far as the models are concerned. I can't say that I've seen this particular type of storm system always produce these heavier snowfall amounts, but it's at least a possibility. And so we'll be watching for those potentials for maybe 6 to 12 inches up across the mountains. Again, along the Arkansas River from Pueblo westward, I think probably close to Canyon City, maybe 3 to 6 inches. The closer you get to the mountains here in Fremont County, the more likely you start to see some heavier amounts. And now here's where some of these bigger numbers are beginning to pop up. You start heading towards Rye and Beulah into the Wet and Sangre de Cristo Mountains. And this sort of system does tend to produce heavier snow in those areas. I'd like to show you that stuff over the southern part of the state, but the model choked on it. Anyway, we head into tonight, and you see that the storm definitely produces more widespread snowfall across much of southern Colorado. So absolutely expect some slick travel through tomorrow morning's commute, and probably even into tomorrow afternoon in some cases. But it does look like the heavier snow tomorrow will begin to shift farther south to areas along and south of the Arkansas River. By the way, real cold when you wake up tomorrow morning with single digits and teens. So as I said, whatever falls is going to stick, and we're likely going to have some slick travel as a result. Can't see anything from up on top of Cheyenne Mountain because, like Woodland Park, it too is buried in the clouds right now. It's a colder week ahead for sure. Slick, as I mentioned, for the Monday morning commute. I do think that this is going to be really good news for the wildfires. It's been a long time since we've been able to get some precipitation, and this isn't just going to be a little snow up there. It's going to be quite a bit. It should help.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we need right now is moisture in Colorado, so good to see that we're about to get some.
And it will be widespread, which is also helpful.
Perfect. Thanks, Marty.
You're welcome.